Oh, hello, and welcome to the first tips and tricks for milliners. Okay, what I'm going to do now is actually show you some of this how to make a blanket stitch. Sorry, and I'm going to show you some of the equipment necessary. You'll need a pair of scissors, basically, for strictly for your cinnamon. Cinnamon is what I'm holding in my hand. Siname is this particular straw that comes from the Philippines and is made out of banana fiber. It comes in many different colors, usually sold by the meter. And you can actually do as I did by mixing colors as well together. Generally, in millinery, you need 2 layers minimum for an averagely good hat. If you want stunning hat, then it's 3 layers of cinnamon on top of each other. Can be the same color or it can be mix and match according to whatever tickles your fancy, and you use that to do blocking. We generally block on the bias, that means the diagonal of the fabric, that means the triangular bit. So because this makes it stretchy if you cut it on the triangle, but if you cut it straight, there is no stretch here when it's cut just straight. Okay, for blocking, you'll definitely get anyway the bias movement of it, and that's the best way to actually pin your item. I don't know that I'll make a video on blocking because that can be time consuming. I tend to normally just work straight on my projects and don't really reveal my designs until a much later on, but I'll think about it for future reference. As you can see, here is one I've made earlier, which is a blanket stitching this wire over this little straw base. There are 2 types of wires. One of them is this plastic one that a lot of new milliners are using today. Is very flexible, is very, so you can use that. And there is the old-fashioned milliner's wire, which is cotton covered. Comes 2 shades, black or white. I tend to prefer cotton covered. I tend to prefer the black one, but occasionally I have to use the white one because sometimes I need to work on much lighter colors. And the best way to hide this white wire sometimes is just to paint it with acrylic paints and use it on your project or a permanent marker, and no one will be none the wiser. As for this white wire, it's not my general preference for it, but to each their own. I'm just using that with a bit of scrapped leftover cinnamon just to do my video and show you how I do blanket stitching, which is put this needle through under the wire, take the bottom end of it, loop it over and pull. Be careful, sometimes the cotton thread can get caught. Try and do it half a centimeter apart, especially when you use this type of wire, this plastic wire. The metal wire is much more advantageous because it lays down very well, and doesn't give you half the slippery difficulties of this particular type of wire. So if you carry on doing it over, so what I did was originally, let me show you, is just that you overlap your wire, you overlap your wire, and then you start to stitch all the good bits. Then you don't cut it until you get crossover bit, just like my front one here, crossover bit, and then you have to get them to overlap at least by 1 inch either way, and then you just stitch around it. This is the lesson of today that I'm going to show you because I don't want to make these videos too long. They're just little millinery tips and tricks. Anything this size, if you're thinking of going to Ascot ladies, you will not be let into the Jubilee ring or the Queen's ring, the royal ring, or anywhere near it. Trust me, you'd have to go into the silver ring, which is obviously the cheaper tickets, and you can get away with this because the Queen has now made specific demands that ladies should dress as ladies and should come with um, well, fascinators that you can call fascinators, no little bits and pieces of flowers that you just chuck in your head, and because you think it looks cute, you think it's socially acceptable. So I will end this lesson here, and I'm going to finish off this little bit, so at least you've got now an idea of what they call a blanket stitch. You can Google it, find it on the internet. If you got some millinery books, I'm sure I'll give you some additional tips, but it's as easy as ABC to do this. And the next video we are going to talk about how to put Petersham or gros grain around this and hide it, and from there on I will progress to show you how to do some trimmings. Okay, thank you very much for watching.